Many years ago, in the serene parts of Asaba lived an elderly couple. For over 30 years, Pa Johnson and Mama Chinyere built a happy home together. Their love had not been perfect, but it had survived the years. They raised two responsible sons, Chibuzo and Obinna, who were now grown men with families of their own. Everyone in the community admired the Johnsons family and saw them as role models because they had survived storms together. Mama Chinyere had been a devoted wife. She cooked, cleaned, and stood by her husband through thick and thin. She also sacrificed her dreams so that her sons could go to the best schools. She tolerated Pa Johnson's flaws, his temper, and his occasional stubbornness, and everything seemed perfect. But then, after 30 years of marriage, Pa Johnson changed. It started with small complaints. One night, after trying to get intimate with his wife to no avail, he grumbled, "You are always tired, Chinyere." Mama Chinyere looked at him confused. "It is not intentional. I wake up before dawn to cook, clean, and take care of the house. You know I am not young anymore, Johnson." Pa Johnson scoffed. "Exactly, you are no longer young." That blunt comment struck her heart like a dagger, but she ignored it and made excuses for him. Perhaps he was in a bad mood. But as time went on, his attitude worsened. Pa Johnson started coming home late, dressing differently, and complaining about her cooking, which he never did before. And then one evening, as they ate dinner, he dropped the bombshell. "I want to marry another wife." The air froze. Mama Chinyere laughed dryly. "You must be joking." "I am not joking," he said bluntly. "I need a younger wife, someone who still has energy." Mama Chinyere couldn't believe it. "Papa Chibuzo, has it gotten to that extent? After 30 years, you now want to abandon me?" But he refused to say anything further. On seeing that her husband was adamant, Mama Chinyere called her sons and informed them of their father's decision. They too were shocked and came back home to hold a meeting. As soon as Pa Johnson saw his children, he knew the reason they had come, but he was prepared. Chibuzo spoke up first. "Papa, is it true that you want to marry another woman? What will become of Mama who has been with you all these years? Is this how you want to repay her?" Pa Johnson looked at his son. "Chibuzo, you won't understand. You are still young. I know what I want and I have decided." Obinna slammed his hand on the table. "Papa, what kind of talk is this?" But Pa Johnson's eyes darkened. "I am the head of this house, mind you. I don't need anybody's permission to take another wife." The house turned into a war zone. The boys pleaded, begged, and even threatened to disown him. But Pa Johnson remained stubborn. "I have made my decision," he declared. Mama Chinyere wiped her tears and said, "Fine. If that is what you want, Johnson, then I will not stop you. But I will not live under the same roof with a small girl young enough to be my daughter." True to her words, she packed her things and left the house. Her sons rented her a small apartment in town, furnished it, and made sure she lacked nothing. Meanwhile, Pa Johnson went ahead and brought in his new wife, a beautiful young lady named Zini. At first, Zini was a dream come true for Pa Johnson. She was young, curvy, and always full of energy. She made him feel young again. She called him my baby and massaged his feet every evening. She also prepared pepper soup just the way he liked it and fed him with new recipes. His friends admired him and teased, "Johnson, you are enjoying this life, oh." And he would go about feeling like a king. But the excitement didn't last long as Zini started to show her true character. She became impatient and irritated at him. She refused to do the house chores again and instead preferred to spend hours on her phone laughing with strangers. She also started wearing skimpy clothes outside, and her respect for him faded. One evening, he came home hungry and found an empty kitchen. "Zini," he called. Zini walked out of the bedroom chewing gum. "What is it? Where is my food?" Zini rolled her eyes. "Did I tell you I was a cook? You have hands, Oga. Go and cook something for yourself." Pa Johnson was too shocked to speak. That night, he had no choice but to boil rice himself, something he had not done in over 30 years. Unfortunately for him, it didn't stop there. The next few weeks were worse. Zini became bolder in her disrespects. She insulted him, ignored him, and even started disappearing at odd hours. One night, as he stood by the window, he saw her stepping out of a flashy car. "Whose car is that?" he asked. Zini shrugged. "A good friend who dropped me." "What kind of friend?" Zini flipped her hair. Must you know everything?" Pa Johnson clenched his fists, but he held his anger. Soon, his blood pressure began to rise, and his heart became weak. One day, his friend warned him, "Johnson, I saw your young wife with another man at a restaurant. Is everything okay at home?" Pa Johnson swallowed hard. "Are you sure about that?" "Yes, very sure." But he refused to believe it and chose to live in denial until the day he witnessed it. That fateful evening, he returned home early and heard laughter from inside the bedroom. He tiptoed closer and pressed his ears to the door. The voices were low, but he could pick an unfamiliar deep man's voice. His heart skipped and his body trembled. Slowly, he pushed the door open, and what he saw nearly gave him a heart attack. There on the bed was Zini, half dressed in the arms of another man. For a moment, he couldn't breathe. His chest felt like it would explode. Then he thundered, "Zini!" The young man jumped up and ran out half naked, but Zini didn't even look ashamed. Instead, she smoothened her dress and yawned. "Old man, why are you shouting?" Pa Johnson staggered. You are cheating on me?" Zini shrugged. "And so?" His heart pounded hard. "I took you from nothing, Zini. I gave you a home." Zini laughed. "And I gave you excitement, so we are even." Pa Johnson collapsed into a chair, shaking. He felt helpless and ashamed looking at the little girl whom he brought in. Moving on, Zini didn't hide her affairs. Since he now knew, she recklessly brought different men into the house. At first, Pa Johnson shouted. Then he pleaded and threatened, but Zini called him bluff. "Do I look like your old wife? You think I will let you chase me away? Never. I am not going anywhere. We are stuck together in this marriage." "But old man, why are you stressing yourself? Allow me enjoy myself, and I promise I won't disturb you." Pa Johnson couldn't believe his ears. Every day, he was faced with different sides of Zini. She turned the house into a nightmare. She would dance to loud music late in the night and even insult him in front of people. One day, he couldn't take it anymore and he ran to his sons. "Please help me," he begged. Obinna folded his arms. "Help you how?" "Please tell your mother to return. I regret my actions." Chibuzo shrugged. "Did we force you to marry your young wife?" "Obinna, please, let us resolve this. I am willing to fix everything." But Obinna shook his head. "I am sorry, Papa, but we can't do anything. The same way you made your choice is the same way Mama made her choice. We can't force any of you. We can only support you." Pa Johnson was disappointed and went to meet Mama Chinyere, but she wouldn't even give him audience. She shouted from the window, "Go back to your young wife." Left with no choice, he returned to his house. The same house that had once felt like a palace had now turned into a prison for Pa Johnson. Every day brought him closer to his grave. Zini no longer cared whether he was there or not. One evening, he heard her on a call. "My love, I miss you too. Don't worry, my old man is here, but he is harmless." Pa Johnson's chest tightened. "Who are you talking to?" he demanded. Zini turned to him indifferent. "And how is that your business?" "I am your husband, Zini." She laughed. "Husband? You? You are just my ATM." Pa Johnson's heart sank. His beautiful dream of marrying a young woman had turned into a nightmare. The day he caught her with another man again in their bedroom, Zini didn't even flinch while the man ran away. She just adjusted her dress and sat up lazily. "You again?" she muttered and rolled her eyes. Pa Johnson clenched his fists. "Zini, why?" Zini smirked. "Why not? I gave you everything, Zini." But Zini laughed bitterly. "And did I beg you? You wanted a young wife. You got one. Now deal with it." That night, he couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, Zini's mocking face haunted him. By morning, he knew he had to do something urgently. He went to see his sons again for help. Chibuzo and Obinna sat quietly as he narrated his ordeal. When he finished, Obinna sighed. "So, Papa, what do you want us to do?" "Please, my sons, help me bring your mother back." Chibuzo scoffed. "The same mother you didn't care about?" Pa Johnson lowered his head. "I made a mistake." "But Papa, we told you," Obinna said. "You just didn't listen." Tears filled Pa Johnson's eyes. "Please, my sons, help me." Chibuzo sighed. "Papa, we can't force Mama to come back. She's an adult and has the right to make her choice. Besides, she also deserves peace," Obinna added. Pa Johnson's heart sank. He realized then that he had lost a very rare jewel. But he refused to give up and went to see his first wife. Mama Chinyere was sitting on her veranda, sipping tea. Her skin glowed. Her eyes were peaceful, and she now looked 10 years younger. Pa Johnson dragged his feet reluctantly. She looked up and frowned when she saw him. "What do you want, Johnson?" He fell to his knees. "Chinyere, please, I need you." She giggled. "Oh, now you need me?" "I was blind," he admitted. "I was foolish." Mama Chinyere took another sip of her tea. "What happened? Is your young wife no longer giving you the excitement you wanted?" His heart ached. "Please, come back home." But she shook her head. "Johnson, that house is no longer my home." Pa Johnson cried. "Please forgive me." But she sighed. "I forgave you a long time ago. But forgiveness doesn't mean I have to return to my suffering." As he returned home that evening, he felt deeply ashamed of himself. He had destroyed his own life and had traded a good woman for a selfish one. He had lost everything. Now there was no going back. Pa Johnson's health continued to deteriorate. He could no longer argue with Zini. His once vibrant spirit had been crushed by the weight of his regrets. But Zini was not even done with him yet. One morning, he woke up to an unusual silence. The house, which was usually filled with Zini's loud music and endless phone calls, was quiet, and something felt off. He staggered out of bed and walked into the sitting room. To his shock, the television, the expensive chairs, and even his framed family pictures were all gone. Panic gripped him. He rushed into the bedroom and opened the wardrobe. But Zini's clothes were gone. The wardrobe was empty. His documents, his retirement savings, everything was missing. He checked the time and saw that it was past 12 p.m. That was when he realized that Zini must have added something to his drink last night. His hands trembled as he searched for his phone. He dialed her number frantically. The number you have dialed is not available. His heart pounded in his chest. Just then, his neighbor Babatunde knocked on the door. "Johnson, I've been knocking since morning. I saw your wife leaving early this morning with a young man. They had a truck with them. She said you were traveling and asked her to sell the house." Pa Johnson's knees gave way. No, that's not possible. Babatunde scratched his head. "She sold your house, oh Johnson. She took everything." The world around him began to spin. His head felt light and his vision blurred. He staggered and fell to the floor. Zini had destroyed him completely. Later that day, Chibuzo and Obinna arrived to find their father sitting on the cold floor of an empty house. The once proud man was now a broken shadow of himself. Obinna shook his head. "Where will you stay now, Papa?" Pa Johnson wiped his tears. "I don't know." Chibuzo looked at his brother. "We can rent a small place for him to live." And so they did. Every day, Pa Johnson sat by the window of the tiny one-bedroom apartment his sons rented for him, thinking about his life. He thought about how he had destroyed a good marriage, how he had abandoned the woman who stood by him, how he had ruined his family. He thought about Zini, the young girl he had sacrificed everything for, only to disappear with his money and properties, leaving him with nothing. Loneliness became his only companion. He missed Mama Chinyere and the warmth of a true home. But there was no going back. However, despite everything, Mama Chinyere remained a good woman. Even though she refused to return to him, she could not ignore the fact that he was suffering. So, every once in a while, she would send food to his house through a dispatch rider. She never visited and never called, but she made sure he never starved. Every time Pa Johnson received a bowl of steaming soup or a plate of rice, he would break down in tears, knowing that he had traded gold for dust. He had thought he was wise and was in control, but in the end, he had been the biggest fool of all. Thank you for watching the story. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. Give the story a thumbs up and share the story out with your loved ones. Subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories. Thank you and remain blessed.